Hey friends, stay tuned for my friend Jacob's awesome story. He has grown up as a Christian, but he came to Charis Bible College and found his lane and his calling and what his next steps in life are. Stay tuned for this Charis Talk. Hey friends, thank you so much for tuning in to today's Charis Talks. I've got my friend Jacob here. Thank you, bro, for being here. It's good to have you on the show. And tell me, where are you from?
I am from Anderson County, Kentucky.
Kentucky, right on. And what year are you at Charis Bible College?
I'm a third year, doing the creative arts.
Creative
program.
arts.
Yep.
Tell me, what has been the biggest takeaway from the creative arts that you've, if you could narrow it down to one?
Yeah, learned a lot of lessons, that's for sure. I would say the biggest one, can I say two?
You can say two for sure, yeah.
The biggest two would be diligence as far as organizing yourself, organizing your time, and being fully committed in whatever you're doing. And then the second one would be getting over yourself, because if you have any kind of nervous energy about you, not that that's something you completely ever get over, but if it's always because you're thinking too much about yourself, and so you can go around and help other people out, help them with their costumes, help them with their lines, just get the focus off of yourself and onto the vision of what you're trying to do.
Yeah, it's great. So how did you hear about Charis Bible College?
So I heard about Charis Bible College when I was in high school, probably sophomore year or so, but just on TV. My dad was flipping through the channel, saw Andrew, and I always listened to the pastors on TV while I was eating my breakfast because the counter was just right there. So eating my breakfast, just listening to him every single morning, actually, for about 20 minutes or so. They mentioned Charis Bible College, figured I'd come check it out. Came to campus days, and I was like, heck yeah, Bible college that doesn't have no gen ed classes, I'll do it.
Yeah. So what do you think the biggest takeaway or revelation you've gotten in your whole time at Charis?
Don't compare yourself amongst yourself, right? So the church is a representation of the body of Christ. I think so many people, they try to be exactly like Jesus. I got to do basically everything that Jesus did. And certainly you should have aspects of Jesus, but Jesus is a representation of the body of Christ, the church. Us as Christians, we're aspects of Jesus. So I found out people, they're different in their callings. They're different in what giftings God has given them, because we don't have anything unless God's given it to us. So for me, going into the creative arts, gifted into acting, singing, maybe dancing here and there, but I got to look at what aspects does that kind of flow how Jesus was. Everybody's different. We can't compare ourselves among ourselves because the eyes can't compare themselves to the ears. Okay, the ears can't compare themselves to the mouth and say, hey, you're doing this wrong, because they have different jobs. If the body starts rebuking itself and say, why aren't you doing what I'm doing, then it's diseased, it's cancerous. Mm-hmm. And so that's how the church should be. Every single person is absolutely different, is completely different. And as a whole, we make up what Jesus did, not as one single person. Because like we were talking about just a second ago, We're a team. Everybody has their own job.
So how much have you grown at Charis Bible College since you've been here?
I've grown a lot. And I barely recognized it until third year. First year, if this is the whole scale of how much, I've grown. First year, I grew about maybe this much, a lot of foundational teaching. A lot of it, just being a Christian my whole life, I've known, but still just good reminders. Second year, you get more into the wisdom of everybody's experience as pastors and how to deal with people. So, maybe up here, and then third year has just been, the whole, everything is just all fit together.
So tell me, how do you feel like you fulfill your fulfillment with the Lord since your journey here at Charis?
I felt bad if I didn't read the Bible a lot. I felt bad if I forgot to pray or something, and I would kind of feel just like a subconscious, like, maybe I didn't please God as much. Not that I phrased it like that in my head, but it was still there. It's kind of in the back of your mind. But now, I realize that God's not looking at me like that. Whatever level I'm at, He's right there with me. So when I wake up in the morning, it's not like, what did I do yesterday to please God? It's, God, I would really love it if you would spend this day with me today. I don't feel any condemnation about, maybe if I don't have time to read my Bible that day, I don't feel any condemnation about it because, He's with me.
The checklist is.
I don't have a checklist anymore. He's with me. So my checklist is, all right, I invited Him into my life today, and that's it. That's all I need.
Tell me, what does embrace your destiny mean to you as it relates to Charis Bible College?
Like I said, just don't compare yourself amongst yourself. You're part of the body of Christ. If God has called you to be an ear, then be an ear, because that's embracing your destiny. Don't look at someone else and say, look at a pastor or an evangelist and try to be like them, because it's not going to happen. Just a quick story. My second year, I hung out with some really good friends that taught me how to flow in the gifts of the Spirit. We would go out and evangelize. We would preach the gospel. We would travel, and I'd stand up on stages and, tell people the gospel. And that was awesome. It was good. It was a good learning experience. I know how to flow in the gifts now. But there was a teacher our second year that said, when you're ministering outside of your calling, it's like taking a shower with your socks on. It's like, it works. You get clean, It works, but it just feels weird. It's just really awkward, I guess. And that's how it was. It was really awkward. It was just strange. And there's just better ways for me to do it. And so when I stepped into my calling of going into creative arts and ministering that way, I felt good about it. It's like where my spirit just leaps every time I do it. Like, this is where I'm supposed to be. So, if an ear starts to taste things, it just gets a little strange. Sure. So,
it's good. So it sounds like you've just found your lane in what you're supposed to do.
Right.
And so I got to ask you, what are you going to do after Charis? What's next?
I am off to Orlando to work at the Holy Land Experience, work with the Murans, do whatever they're doing, and see what God takes me from.
So people are tuning in, they're hearing your story today. What is the Holy Land Experience, if they've never heard of it?
The Holy Land Experience is a Christian theme park. TBN owns it. But yeah, it's just a fun park to go to. I guess my thoughts of it before were a little off to what it actually was. So last time I visited there, it's like they do a lot of theater productions. And so at the beginning of the day, you'll start off with going into a small venue, and they'll tell a little story, and then you'll travel over to the other side of the park, and they'll continue the story there, continue the story at another part, and then they have a big production in the middle of the day, and they break it up, going towards the end of the day, and finish the big production. So
yeah, it's great. Yeah. I've been there. It's a really cool thing you should check out.
They have big plans for the future, is what I'm hearing. So they're looking to change the park up, kind of spice it up a little bit, and get it to its full potential. So I'm looking forward to being a part of that.
That is awesome. So let me ask you this: somebody's watching your story right now, and they're interested in Charis. What would you tell them why they should apply to Charis Bible College today?
Today, they should apply to Charis Bible College today, if God's calling you to do it. If you really know He is, obviously pray on any big decision you're making like that. Maybe He's calling you to an extension school. Maybe He's calling you to do online classes. But bottom line is, if God's telling you to do anything, do it, no matter what it seems like.
Do it.
So that's another thing I've learned, is do what God tells you to do, because it's going to work out. It's going to work out.
Jacob, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thanks for watching this episode of Charis Talks. To learn more about Charis Bible College, Visit our website today.
Hey friends, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of today's Charis Talks. Is God speaking to you? Are you wanting more information about Charis Bible College? Click this link below, get a little more information. Also, if you've enjoyed this testimony, like, share, and subscribe to this channel to hear more awesome stories of what God's doing here in Charis Bible College.